My friends out there in YouTube land, welcome to the show. I thought I'd give this something a little shot here. Hello, Sonia, Groovy Ghoulie, hello, JJ Collins. How you guys doing out there? I had talked about this with, I think, one of the other guys, Mitch Heyman, mentioned about doing something with Ibanez guitars. Or if it happens to still come up backwards, it might say Zenabai. You know, like Carrie would say stuff backwards. If you backwards, it would say, "This old man Dan, what's happening?" Hey, Dana, what's happening, my friend? So I wanted to see, and I'm sorry I did not give out any notices prior to this. We've been a little bit busy the last couple of days. We were getting our kitchen floor redone. Over the weekend, we had these shows back to back, and we had to get things prepared and all that for the kitchen. You know, it's called life. We thank everyone that has subscribed to our channel. We thank everyone that tunes into our shows. And this is kind of called Rockin Ibanez. And this is like a little promo. I'm trying to see where the interest would lie as spotlighting Ibanez guitars. And the reason why I chose, well, there's two reasons. One is that, you know, Ibanez is a very popular brand. But more importantly to that, than that, is that it was my first really good guitar that I bought. I graduated in Guitar Land, okay? I had a Checkmate from a pawn shop, a Checkmate guitar. Ben Coombs, what's happening? Good seeing you. The Checkmate was bought at a pawn shop. It had one pickup, and I had to put masking tape on it because it was magnetic, of course. And of course, the screws, the wood was all rotted out, the plastic was all destroyed, so I had to screw the pickup down because it would jump up on the strings. Well, from that guitar, sorry guys, it is storms and thunder and lightning storms. We were at the zoo earlier, at April Zoo, and it got cut a little short because of lightning storms. Safety precaution. But that'll explain why sometimes we get these dropouts. Okay, so going back to what I was saying, I graduated from very pixelated, yeah. Oh, I am? Okay, sorry about this, guys. Hopefully the audio is better than the video, because again, we are in a stormy season. That's why sometimes it is a little bit tough. Yeah, but it's, you know, down here in Florida, I didn't realize Florida was the lightning capital of the states, probably the world, who knows. But we get a lot of lightning storms. What I had mentioned was, I went from getting slightly less plex as time goes by. Okay, thanks, Groovy Ghoulie. And Ben Coombs, thanks for letting me know this, because I could only see what, like, you guys would see off of your phone or your laptop. But I graduated from the Magnum Les Paul. Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks, Ben. I really appreciate it. Coming from you, my friend, I really appreciate it. Really do appreciate it, man. And really appreciate your advice. Any type of advice you give me is very much, it's cherished, you know? It's cherished. It really is. Because we're all in this together. The whole purpose of YouTube and these videos is to share information and help each other out. Holding those doors of opportunity open for people. Not being a growth choker, you know? You step in, and just as you're going to get your foot in the door, they close the door and they choke you. You know? Thanks, Ben. I appreciate it. But yeah, I went from the Checkmate electric guitar to a Magnum Les Paul copy, which between the neck and bridge pickup, it was all hollowed out, so it would feedback like crazy. And then my first good guitar I saved up for was the Ibanez Artist. 1970 model. I think it was called the 350 model or something. It had the yeah. Look at Ben. Growth choker sounds like a girl I once knew. Yeah. Well, in this case, Ben, you get these people that they. I don't like saying anything like this, but I mean, it is a fact. It really is a fact. Who cannot do, they teach. And those who teach, who do, they really do care about the students. But then you have the other ones, those who can't do, they become booking agents. And guess what they do? Not all of them, but a lot of them. They were frustrated musicians, so they see someone that's good, and boy, they slam the door, and next thing you know, and not saying, yeah, you understand, Mr. Dana, yeah. We all know this. This isn't anything new. The gigging musicians are well aware of this because this is something we've always gone up against. Would you have the book together? I'll tell you what. That's a good. Jim Giedra, how are you, my friend? Good seeing you. We had a very busy day today. We had a very busy couple of days. That's why I was not able to give you a call. Life got real busy, man. Yeah. Oh, would you rather book the gig? Well, we're booking our own gigs. I like to do, Ed, and this is a question Ed Dana had said. Would you rather like to book the gigs? Oh, I've been yeah, Ed Dana. I've been boned by every booking agent. Yeah. I'm not saying all of them are bad, as we do know. Oh, that's a song lyric. Okay, Ed. Okay, no. Ed's not saying that to anyone out there listening. It's a lyric in the song, so please do not take that the wrong way. I mean, there is, to be honest, there's some good ones out there. The good ones out there will always be fair and honest, and they'll tell you it's a saturated market, so we have to put you on a waiting list and that. Yes, we will talk to you soon. Yes, we can, Jim. What's actually a good time to talk to you, because I know you're busy at work and I don't want to interrupt in family life. My wife's off from her job this week, so we got to spend time together. We've been down here almost a year. At the end of this month, it'll be a year. We have yet really done anything vacation-wise or anything like that. It's always work. Gigging, driving. She does HR. She's managing, 8 stores. It'll be 9 stores because she's got very strong management background, and she's been a self-employed. Okay. But yeah, some of these booking agents, you get good ones, but you get these bad ones that they just close the doors in people's face, and they got their friends and that. And that's fine. And the only reason why I say that, Sean Zimmerman. Hey, how are you, Sean? Good seeing you. I wanted to test this at this time to see if this would be a good time for everybody. We're Eastern time. So people who are Central Time behind, some of them might be eating, and I don't want to, disrupt dinner. Never do that, right? So, is the stream blurry again? Sorry, guys. I hope. Oh, doing good, Sean. Doing good. Yeah, I hope the blurriness does get back. Oh, anytime tomorrow's fine. Great. We'll definitely do that, Mr. Jim. Deidre, definitely. Dan Sullivan, how are you? Good talking with you, man. Love your videos. Love your videos, Ed Dana. Love your videos you've been putting up. Great stuff, man. Even when you were working on that tube amp. Yeah. And that PV Windsor. Awesome. But yeah, you get some good booking agents. You get the ones that are not so good. No, I just go over their heads and talk with the owners. The people that own the place are the people that sign the checks, And I try to work with them because it's their money. It's not a booking agent's money. The booking agent's the middleman. The people who own the places, it's their money. They're responsible and all that. You get good people, you get bad people. Stay away from the bad people, right? And move on. Forget about them, But what I wanted to talk about was Ibanez guitars because, they've been around 40 plus years. And from what I understand, they started out as a place selling sheet music. Would you like to play the guitar Driver mile. Oh, what I had to. You know what? Booked a gig. You know what, Mr. Ed Dana? I'll tell you what. Yeah, yeah, he is. He's the guy that take Ed Dana's got to go. The booking agent's the guy that takes 20% and doesn't really do much of anything for you. You know, booking agent. I would make sure I had a lot of money to be able to do this, and I'd be fair about it. I'd be really fair because I really believe in fairness. You know, there's been enough of this crap of choking people and not giving them an opportunity. You know, yeah, he'll clean you out in ways you never thought. Because he's good at the yeah, exactly. He knows how to manipulate. They lie. They know how to lie. I'm drinking a little bit of my cappuccino and my Allure. Let's see. That's an insurance company. Of course, it's coming out backwards. A nice German lady works for this company. I like giving a shout out for her because she was good. She tipped me real good at one of the places. Oh yeah, Dan Hills. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Ed Dana's got a great point about some of these booking agents. He'll screw you because he's the one who's booking the gigs. Make the final decision, and you know a lot of it's because restaurant or club owners they're too busy running their establishment, and sometimes they just simply don't know, or they're in cahoots with someone and whatever. Now there is some good booking agents. I did deal with some good booking agents. They were honest. See, they're good when they're honest. They'll tell you it's saturated. We'll put you on the list, but then we'll work out with you. Yeah. But yeah, and these are all songs that Ed's talking about. So we're not trying to say that Ed Dana's saying it, but these are all songs. But see, these are lyrics. Robin Trower's "To Rolling Stone." It's got some really good lyrics in there. The takers get the honey, meaning the money, and the givers sing the blues. The musicians are singing the blues because they ain't getting anything. Oh, it looks like you go to these festivals. Wow, it looks like they're all pockets are full, not the musician's pocket. Unfortunately, things up with money, right? And then you call the shots. You find out who owns the property, ask them, you get the permits, talk about how much it costs to get the firefighters, paramedics, because they're on a salary, they got to get paid, how much it costs to get the... Yes, Robin Trower did. Procol Harum, yes. From what I remember. And Deb and I met Robin Trower back in, I want to say 2006, 2008, I can't remember, back in Illinois at Lyle Fest, in Lyle, Illinois. I guess it was the festival called Eyes to the Sky. And Robin Trower was playing, and we got backstage and we were talking with him. And Mr. Robin Trower, like Ozzy Osbourne, is from Birmingham, England, and that's where Deb's mom is from, Birmingham, England. Yeah, and Deb's mom was a performer in England. Yeah, and she still gets out and performs when she can, She dances, sings. I mean, it's awesome, But yeah, now getting back with doing a little how can I say, episodes talking about Ibanez guitars and yeah, whether even if you don't like the brand, that's fine. You're more than welcome because I'm not endorsed by them. It would be nice because they were a company I started out with, and throughout the years, out of all the guitars, I had the most guitars I had was from the brand, from the Ibanez brand. And it's interesting because they started out, again, like I said, I thought it was someone that said they started out as selling sheet music and then gradually they got into guitar building, and of course we know they used to make a lot of copy guitars. Steve from Boston, I see on his videos sometimes he's playing that white Ibanez Les Paul. A friend of mine, when it was a Les Paul copy, and a friend of mine had, I believe it was called a PF 100. It was kind of like a Les Paul, but the top part came in almost like a Telecaster, but it mostly was shaped like the Les Paul. And they were doing great for a while. And I think when Gibson was going after them, and maybe a couple other companies, mostly Gibson, they got the idea, okay, well, we can make the exact same, it's the same wood, same materials, but let's incorporate our designs. And I'll always say this, and it's only because back in the 70s, we didn't have the situation with wood is going out of, We had plenty of it, so we thought, So there was none of this endangered wood species and, things of that nature. A buddy of mine is sponsored by Staying Tuned Free. Yes. Ed Dana. Getting on the sites. True endorsement is when you get stuff for free. But see, nowadays, a lot of companies have to, it's at cost because they're, especially after this recession, this horrible recession we've had. I mean, it changed everything. It really has. So, of course, they got to watch the overhead. But I remember being at the 1989 NAMM show in Chicago, Illinois, at McCormick Place, and I was getting ready to get an endorsement deal with Robert Monroe Turner, Monroe Custom Guitars, and he had 10 guitars lined up, and whatever one is yours. His wife is writing out the receipt. I didn't have to pay a dime for it. Boom, here it is. It was going for like $1,500. Wide neck through body, Taylor trim system. And the deal was I would go to all the guitar centers and Guitar Shack. We used to have Guitar Shack. And then Guitar Shack Plus, then it became Guitar Plus. Well, anyways, I go to these music stores and try to push the guitar as best as I could, but it was tough because they were locked in with Gibson, Fender, Charvel, Jackson, Ibanez. For a new company back then in 1989/1990. Anyways, but the thing with Ibanez guitars, I want to say maybe 1977 they really started coming out with their own. My artist guitar was a 1978, and I bought it either late 79 or very early 1980, and it was thin-bodied, double cutaway, mahogany body, carved maple top, rock maple neck, half bone, half brass nut. On the bridge, it had the sustain block underneath it, brass hardware. It was like a stop bar tailpiece type of bridge setup. Super 88 pickups. They were the pickups. They had the finger, what they call flying finger, the finger with the wings, with the abalone, the tri-sound switches. It was a great guitar, rock solid. And my friend Andy, he had a 1979 Ibanez Paul Stanley, bought brand new for like $500. The quality of those guitars back then were just stellar, man, unbelievable. Then Ibanez had the musician guitar. They had two versions, and those were, I believe, those were neck through, and one was a flat top and one was an arch top. I think I'm sorry, I'm reading, trying to read. I think the industry has changed a lot. Oh yeah, Dan Sullivan, that's changed. If any of you out there, and I know Ed Dana, he's got years on me. Being polite about it, Mr. Ed Dana, means you got experience. So you're more wiser than myself. That's what that means. And we're all from the same era, so we remember when all this stuff. We remember when MXR was MXR, and some of you might remember when MXR was having I think they were having money issues, and then they went through changes. They changed the casings of their pedals. I had a MXR Phase 90, which is just like what we see now. But then after that, I want to say maybe 1983, 84, they changed their casings. I had a black MXR Distortion Plus, but it was almost like an overdrive type. It was stereo output, so one was the wet signal and one was the dry signal, even with the distortion. And it was a nice big metal casing. Then the year after that, they came out with these little white plastic pedals with this, stomp pedal. Not their push buttons that they have now, but it was like everything was plastic, and it didn't last long because after so many times of turning it on and off, it would just fry and make noise and everything else, So we come from this era where I think companies really wanted their own identity, and I thought it would be kind of nice, maybe spotlighting Ibanez. I know the EVH brand is real popular, and kudos to Eddie Van Halen. He's definitely an iconic figure, and his brand is going to always be there. But and it's the 40th anniversary of Eruption Van Halen 1. But it's also the 40th or 41st or 42nd anniversary, I guess you could call, of Ibanez guitars coming out to their own. I used to have a catalog. I want to say it was a 78, 79 catalog, where Bob Weir was endorsing Ibanez, Steve Miller was endorsing Ibanez, and of course Paul Stanley, and then of course as years went on, we knew that Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, and then you got this girl Nita Strauss, and then of course George Benson. You can't forget George Benson, and then John Scofield. So the thing with this brand is that they're not just for shredders. They didn't really start out for shredders because that term really wasn't used until the early 80s. I want to say maybe 1983 on up. We had guitar heroes back then, and I'm not just talking about Eddie Van Halen. We had guys like John McLaughlin, Al Di Meola, Alan Holdsworth, Bill Connors, Larry Coryell. The list goes on and on. Oh, nice, Ben. Yeah, the AF-75 in love. Yeah, the Ibanez. Oh, yeah. But you see, Ibanez has got this whole spectrum. And I do have a couple of Ibanez guitars. I won't bring them out now, but on my next video, yeah, I'll bring them out. I got a 12-string and a called the Exotic Woods. And honestly, I don't care if they're laminate or not. When you plug it in, all that kind of goes away. Although good tones, they matter, especially in acoustic guitars. Not plugged in. Electronics will override a lot, and don't really want to get in on too much on that subject because there's so much debating going on with that. But it's kind of interesting to see how Ibanez has grown, and it just kept growing and growing and growing and growing and evolving. Before there was the RG series, there was a Roadster, and I've had that brand. You had different heroes. I had Peter Frampton and Joe Perry. Yes, Joe Perry and the Joe Perry Project. Plus, we know with Aerosmith, Peter Frampton. Yeah. You know what? And it's interesting. All the guitar players back in the 70s sounded different. They were influenced by each other, but they were not trying to sound exactly like each other. I think that's what we're missing in this day and age. Some of these modeling amps, they're okay. They're convenient. They're convenient for some of the live gigs when you don't have space for pedals. And if you're playing in a bar, no one cares, man. Nobody cares. I don't care what a person wants to say. What they care about is their drink is half empty. Time for another drink. That's the main concern. Excuse me, guys. So, but getting back with the Ibanez brand, I'm sure you've seen the video where I threw this thing, and of course the back part dropped and it crashed, and stuff happens, right? You keep going forward. I picked the guitar up, but it was still in tune. Nothing bad happened to it. So if it was crap, it would have fallen apart right then and there, and then I would have been out, right? And again, no one has to like this brand. Everyone is more than welcome to their Untitled. All the guys that played Les Pauls through plexis. Yeah. That was the sound back then. There really was no high gain. You have to the deal was to get the amp to really push the tubes. Everyone said, don't buy the 100 watt, buy a 50 watt head, and when you push it, it'll drive the tubes harder. And if you want 100 watts, slave drive it, output into input, and just crank everything up, and there you go. The amp I'm playing right now, I don't have it, is my little Hughes and Kettner. That's called the Edition Blue 60 watt. And when I engage the overdrive, it does have a nice punchy sound. So it's a nice little amp, lightweight. But again, getting back with the Ibanez guitars, I wanted to see if there would be an interest in, having a channel and kind of talking about the Ibanez brand and good luck or bad luck or somewhere in between. Um, because I kind of think that people overlook it and they see it only as a Steve Vai model guitar or Joe Satriani. But they don't see the whole spectrum that they have. And for a company to have that wide of range of guitar is pretty impressive, and to still keep the price down. Now, obviously, in this day and age, they have to use lesser, I don't know if you want to call it, quality of woods, because of the situation of wood being scarce, which I understand that. But their quality built is really tremendous, because to go through, and some of my shows I do play them hard. I don't have any issues. I really don't. I don't have to worry. Very seldom I take out my Gibson Les Paul, because I got a good deal on that guitar. I've always wanted to have a Gibson Les Paul, and but I don't want to go nuts and destroy it, and I'll have a heart attack. Then you'll see the defibrillators come out. Boom. My BC Rich Warlock. I don't go too crazy with it, although I haven't played it in a while. Bust it out in my shows. That one's an X series. But these guitars feel very comfortable to me, and I just think that Ibanez, they have great quality built, and they just keep going on basically almost all their guitars. Same with Strats. Exactly, Dan. Clampton sounds like Clampton. Hendrix sounds like Hendrix. Doesn't matter what guitar you grab. You're always going to sound like you, because this is where it starts, right here. Guitar playing is the reflection of a person's personality. It's like talking. It's different. Everyone laughs at a joke different. Everyone's perspective different. And so, of course, exactly, Dan Sullivan. Yeah. When you grab the notes, you're gonna touch the strings different. You're gonna attack the strings different. Your whole perception of emotion is different. That's why you could take everyone, play the exact same riff on the exact same gear, guaranteed that you're gonna sound different. Guaranteed. You might sound similar. Thanks, Mr. Clive. Thank you. Yep. More tone in your hands, and yeah, exactly. You got it, Ben Coogs. You got it. This is where it starts, right here. Right here. And everything else is secondary. Everything else. So if you could make something cheap sound good, good for you. If you could do more with less, then you come out ahead. You really do. Because you got to keep in mind when you're playing live, you're not always going to be on a big stage. You might not always have the luxury of a nice area, air-conditioned area. You might be outside, doing an outside gig, and wow, man, it gets hot. Yep, exactly. That's Dan Sullivan nailed it. That's why one day you plug in, you love the tone, the next day, okay, it's not so great. There's variables. There are variables. So I wanted to see where people's interest in. So yeah, this could probably come into conversations of just everything in perspective, not just the gear. The Ibanez guitars with these flat necks, they are comfortable. My Cordoba has a nice flat neck, and when you do bar chords for a while, it's easier. It's easier, like for me, on this part of the muscle, Because I've done shows where, man, we're playing and playing and playing, and I'm doing a lot of the rhythm, because each show I'll do is slightly different. Although I'm doing a lot of the same thing with my vocalist Mike, which is because then we could gradually add songs as we need to. Because when you do X amount of shows and then he works full time, there's only 24 hours in a day. You got to get rest, you got to eat, you got to take care of your body, Especially as we get into our 50s, we're not teenagers anymore, so we have to take that into consideration. And yes, Mr. Ben Coombs, I agree 100%. Speed does kill. You got to be careful. I kind of taught. I guess maybe I'm hyper. I don't know. especially more down here, because here's the reality down here in Florida, and I think Showman Blues, because he came out to the Naples show last Thursday. He could, he could agree. There's really not a whole lot of, yeah, there's not a whole lot of roads that we have down here. So what happens is this: you drive down the road, and all of a sudden, the sign will say a dead end. Especially after hurricanes. Hurricanes are blowing the signs all over, so you don't know which is which. But it'll say dead end. You think, okay, I'll go around the block. You can't, and it's dead end because there's a canal. So now you got to reroute yourself. So I'll tell you what, guys, it is definitely different down here than it is up in Illinois. Because up in Illinois, I knew the streets, and I knew which way to go. Down here, I'm still getting myself acclimated, and it does take time. It really does take time. So, yeah, this guitar has been a workhorse. The one I found in the dump has been a workhorse. The one I throw around the most. And actually, it's a lot heavier than this. But they're just workhorse guitars. They really are. And it's interesting. Even some of the $300 range of their semi-hollow body and their hollow body guitars, I've checked out the Ibanez ones, and man, they feel great. So I don't know if anyone's had any bad luck with Ibanez or not, but it is interesting. A company, like I said, that started out as being a copy guitar. Give it another year, Dave, and you'll be full. Yeah, 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 Ben. There's a lot of what they call the trop rock down here. But here's the deal. A lot of this is gradually, there's a lot of building going on down here. There's a lot of people that are relocating down here to Florida. And they're bringing their waves down. And you'd be surprised, the majority of musicians and people that hang out at the bar, they're tired. They're so sick and tired of Jimmy Buffett. Some people still love it though, but they'd like to have something new and different. And I think when people come up from north, yeah, all the baby boomers. Now, I'm glad you mentioned that, Ben, because here's the deal. And a lot of you guys might understand, and gals would reconnecting. Sorry, guys. Yeah. So I have a question for you people. Oh, no, we're back. I think we're back. Yeah, I did say we're live again. Yes, I really apologize about this, guys, because down here at this time of year, we get lightning storms and we get rain, and it's like the sky opens up and it's like doom and gloom, and it's like, are you kidding me? I went from snow, yeah, we're back, from snow down to lightning storms, and I mean, the lightning when it strikes, man, holy crap. The statistics are, people get struck, let's see. Yeah, sorry guys. The statistics are, people are more likely to get struck by lightning down here than attacked by an alligator. So we're getting bad. Johnny Bean, what's happening, my friend? Good seeing you. Love your show, man. Love your show. We got Steve Nickerson, Steve Anderson, Dave Nesdahl. You guys are great. You guys are fantastic. And of course, we cannot forget our good friend, Ben, besides Ben Coombs. Yeah. Joe Wench from the Joe Wench Project. Man, what a great guitar player he is. And sometimes he'll rock with his Gem Jr. But most of EVH guitars. Oh yeah, you're welcome, Johnny Bean. Yeah, great show. Love watching you guys. But yeah, so it's interesting. When did the baby boomer generation actually start? Because I had people tell me, no, Dave, you're part of Generation X. But then people say, no, Dave, you're part of the baby boomer. Because again, I was born in November 1963. So who knows, right? Yeah, but it's interesting. So I want to say, well, I know for a fact it's been 40 years since, not 40 years since I had my Ibanez artist, but it came out in 1978. That was 40 years ago. And again, that guitar was built like a tank, man. Holy crap. The dumb move I did was trading it in. Of course, I've told that story before. Missed that guitar a lot. Great guitar. But yeah, the Ibanez brand, it's real interesting because their spectrum is wow. They got, if you go to the NAMM shows, they got a huge acoustic display, shredder display, of course. Um, what would be considered like the Les Paul type was the Ibanez artists and that. Um, and of course their jazz guitars, the semi-hollow body and their hollow body guitars. And they just kept evolving and evolving and evolving, and they never went away. They never really had any issues that I remember. Um, and their quality build is great because even though might have to use cheaper parts, like this is not exactly a what do you call Edge. It's more of a Floyd Rose. They're doing this more on their prestigious guitars. The Gem Jr. will have this type of bridge. So they have to find ways to save money like everybody else does, you know. Otherwise, they're going to go out of business. And because they have so many models out there, that means maybe they got so many CNC machines or whatever, designers. They have a high overhead. But the best of my knowledge, I've never known them to have any issues. As far as they're gonna they're in the red, they're gonna go out of business. They need a bailout, you know. Sad that companies go through that, but it's something that happens, and it's part of it is watching your spending, man. Our experiences on the road is how you make money is watching what you spend. Because it's, again, now it's a different subject here, but it's basically, you know, you're out on the road, whether you're out there touring or you're doing some of the road shows like Deb and I have been doing, and we've self-funded all of our shows. I really think if a person's going to go out on the road, the best way to do it is to self-fund it yourself, because you're going to watch your expenses more than just letting, if you're signed and you got a management company, and, you know, they're going to take over. You need to understand one thing, that got to come from somewhere. It is no different than if you're funding it. So, be really on you, and you probably don't even realize that the matter is, when you go to each venue, if there's not that many tickets sold, that means they rented out the venue. That means they got to see a return on their profit, because always remember, especially these festivals, you got to rent out, you got to pay for all the paramedics, porta johns, you know, whoever is in charge of the production, they got to pay for all this, so they need to see a return on their investment, and sometimes it's not that hard. So I have friends that went on these tours and they came back because they couldn't finish the tour. Hey, Soda Pop 79, what's happening, my friend? What's happening? Thank you for joining. Yeah, they had to come back out of the tour, and because they ran out of money, they couldn't afford to stay out there out on the road, and it's tough. It's a tough business. It's if you could back it up with money, that's really the best way to go, because I mean, you're not gonna screw yourself out of money. You might make a mistake, you know. You might take a gamble, and you might not come out where you break even, but it's a lesson learned. So next time you go out, you try to look for what caused you to not make so much money, and then kind of regroup. If you went too big for, let's say, you rented out an auditorium, or you rented out a amphitheater, and the expenses were too high, well, the next time check out smaller venues that you could rent out and see if you could turn a profit. You know, because in the bottom line, it's always going to come down to money. And I've had people disagree with me on that statement before, but you know, when they say it's not what you know, it's who you know, well, who are these people you're supposed to know? They got money. Well, if you have money, I think you're smart. You're not going to screw yourself over. And you know, you're gonna watch your expenses a little better. That's all. You might make mistakes in the first time on your first rodeo going out, but then you learn from that experience. The next time you go out, don't try to live like a big shot until you got that money. Make that money, put it in the bank, you know, or invest it. See where you can do invest it where it's wisely. We can see the money grow, you know. So, but again, getting back with the what picks do I use? Okay, good question. Now a lot of people hate these, and I was never a big fan of these. They're 1 millimeter. Well, let's see. Clayton picks. They're these triangle picks. I'm going to tell you why I went back to using these triangle picks. I used to hate these things. I still like the smaller picks. I also play classical guitar, and my index finger gets shaved down a lot. These picks seem to help. Yeah, Tortex are great too. I used to use those a lot too, Ben. And I used to experiment with different gauges. You do get different sounds, different tones. But especially when the bulk of my income was coming from classical guitar, I had to really watch because I was destroying my index finger. I would do some of these rock shows, and my nail gets destroyed. Then that weekend, or the following week, or during the week, whenever the show popped up, that I got hired out, I'd always, and to this day I still do this, keep a little piece of sandpaper folded up, and then, you know. Oh, Michael Bishop, how are you? No worry, my friend. Yeah, I wanted to see where there would be an interest in this time slot. That wouldn't be too late, but not too early, and just, you know, see what happens. So that's why I apologize by not sending out any messages, my friends. I wanted to do that a little earlier, but today, at least my wife Deb and I had some time we could share together, man. Holy crap, because we're always going and going and going and going. And that's not always good. You know, you gotta spend time with the family, you know. Even though she comes out to my shows and she's running sound, we're working, you know. It's fun. Not like we can go out and enjoy ourselves, you know. Today we went to Naples Zoo, down here in Naples, Florida, and we had because we had lightning. We're kind of pulling some of the, letting people know. Oh, okay, I use glow in the dark .94. Yeah, you know, here's the thing. Do you guys remember, in the Guitar World magazine, I think on the cover they had John Petrucci, and there was this whole debate about the Jim Dunlop Jazz 3-pick. And I would use those as well, you know. Oh, helping a lady with a computer problem, Michael Bishop, yeah. No, whenever you could help somebody, hey, that's great. You're helping somebody. Help is always good, you know. Like Ben Coombs says, and I love that saying, Ben. That is a very powerful saying. Hold open those doors, man, because instantly what came to my mind, doors of opportunity. Because there's so many people out there, like, you know, they pull you out of the way. It's kind of like remember, you know, we see this on Black Friday? The little dolly comes out, and, you know, 6 months down the road, your daughter or son, whatever, they're going to get sick and tired of the toy that you just fought over on Black Friday. And just, man, it's like a brawl. You know, John Wayne movie, man. They're pulling people away from that toy. That's mine. They're kicking and shoving. It's like, what the hell is this, man? The gravity picks, yes. I'll tell you what's nice with the gravity picks. Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, I really am digging this guitar. Part of the reason it has a flat matte finish, because down here you sweat down here in Florida. And it has the belly cut, but it does not have the arm cut. And personally, I like that because I got used to playing like Les Paul type guitars. Which my Ibanez artist was essentially a Les Paul with double cutaway, you know. But my wrist was helping my picking technique. It wasn't all bent like on the Strat, so I had to get used to that. But I prefer just the straight, you know. Because I mean, my picking technique. The majority of what I do is alternate picking. Very seldom I'll do the two-hand tapping. Very seldom I'll do the sweeping. Because, as you know, I have to do stuff on the acoustic. And all that stuff goes down the toilet. The only thing that really punches through is a good, solid picking technique. You know, so that's that's how I got my picking technique developed. And being a huge Al Di Meola fan, when I heard that guy, because he would be ripping it up on an acoustic guitar, I was like, holy crap, this guy, it's not trickery he's doing. This guy really is that fast and that accurate and punchy. I saw the Super Guitar Trio back in 1983, and saw Paco de Lucia, John McLaughlin, Al Di Meola, and special guest Steve Morse, all on acoustic, man. And boy, I'll tell you what, that night I went home, I was up all night practicing, especially watching Paco play with the fingers. Holy crap. I'll be showing on some of my Tech Talkin' Tuesday videos how I develop my finger picking dexterity, walking scales, how to do like the Bach pieces have always been challenging for me because it's arpeggios done very, very different. And when I was at the Bristol Renaissance Fair, I was taking pieces that were kind of challenging, and I had to be careful because right after the Renaissance period, the Baroque period starts, and we have what I call them spillovers. Like from the 1960s spills over into the 1970s, and you get these influences. They were really strict at the Bristol Renaissance Fair up in Wisconsin, and I guess rightfully so because they wanted to keep it as authentic as possible. Let's see. I use to be able to flat pick because that's a thumb pick. They got what they call the Travis picking. It's I'll tell you what, to me, Travis picking, it's almost like when you do a Leyenda or Malagueña. Thumb and middle finger. I will definitely demonstrate this on my nylon string. On the steel string, for some reason, it's a little bit difficult for me. But in this section of Leyenda Astorias, you have the tremolo going on, and what it is, you're holding an octave B to B. Well, that's a lot of tune there. So while these two fingers are planted, these two fingers are playing the melody around. And I will be showing what I've learned in my self-studies in classical guitar, techniques that you work with where you have to move these two fingers while these two are planted, and it helps with finger independence. Because in the world of classical guitar, whether you play fast or not, it's classical guitar as a whole is thank you, Tim Ferguson, thank you. It is a very, very sweet tune, man. It's called Astorias Leyenda, and it was actually started out as a piano piece by the composer Isaac Albeniz, and it got popular by Andrea Segovia in early to mid 20th century. But Robbie Krieger from the Doors, which I didn't realize, he was studying flamenco guitar. That's why he didn't use a pick. But he also loved the blues. But the version of Spanish Caravan is really borrowed from Astorias Leyenda. But in the world of classical guitar, I'll tell you what, you want to see some tremendous players, you watch these people. And you'd be amazed because it's all about the entire emotion of the song. And a lot of these people are not using any type of a cutaway or electronics. It's the dynamics come right from the hands, and it's something that blows my mind. But here's the deal: classical guitarists who do nothing but classical guitar, when they pick up electric, it's like, holy crap! How do I? This is a wild beast, So everything serves a purpose. And nothing is better than anything else, They all serve a purpose. Okay. Should you do a cover of it? Oh, I should do a cover. Yeah, you know what? I have videos on my other channel where I'm doing like variations of Astorias Leyenda. And I'll be getting back into more of my classical guitar playing and putting up some of those videos. Because I gotten away from that and I'll explain the reason how I got away from that. Back up in Illinois, I'd get contracted to do a lot of corporate events. And it's because they saw me doing the classical and the flamenco and Spanish style guitar. They liked it. At the same time, I would do my shred metal shows at places like Penny Road Pub up in Barrington, North Barrington, Illinois, and in Bada Brew in Crest Hill by Joliet, Illinois. Raleigh's Rock House, the metal band Shadowlord I was in, we do a lot of that. And then my other band I had, Legend. And then I do some of the blues rock, and then I get hired for a wedding, and then I was doing the Bristol Renaissance Fair. So I had all these different styles of music, which required all these different techniques, which would help me to get these gigs. When I graduated high school in 1981, I had said this before, I used to do 8 to 10 hour day practices, sessions. And of course it wasn't straight through. I mean, it was like, you take a little break, grab something to eat, then boom, hit the strings again. But I would practice my speed picking, I would practice my rhythms. I practiced my classical guitar chops, because the only album I had at the time was Christopher Parkening's Romanza. And then that's when after that I started getting some of the Segovia tapes and Pepe Romero, and of course now John Williams, classical guitarist John Williams, and Julian Bream. I mean, there's a whole like another world of these great guitar players. So I was working on that technique. I'd work on my blues chops because I lived down the street from the blues and jazz clubs and sit in at the blues jams. So it wasn't just trying to play fast all the time. It was trying to play very well, because it got to the point where I thought, what would happen to get into this business full time if I had an opportunity to, let's say, join Cameo, the band Cameo, when they had that song Word Up. Because the reason why I'm saying this is that one of the bands I was in, we were doing a show at the Holiday Star Plaza in Indiana. And then the guys who watched us was the guys from the band Cameo. And I met their guitar player, and the guy made try to play less sloppy. That's it. Yeah, Ben Coombs, you nailed it. Try to play as accurate as possible. But if you're going to try to be a hired gun, always understand your place. Let them tell you what's going on, because it's their gig, their money, their show. You're the hired gun. Do the best you can. Try to be as easy to work with. And I think you'll actually go a lot further than if you try to show how fast you could shred and could throw the guitar. And I use myself as an example. Throw the guitar around and that. When I would play certain songs, I just lay back, because it looks stupid if I go absolutely nuts. I don't like it. I wouldn't want to watch the playback and like, oh crap, that looks stupid, you know. So I met the guys from Cameo, and their guitar players complimented me on my chops, and he made a comment to me. He says, "You're not just a good lead guitar player; you're a good rhythm guitar player. You know how to blend in with keyboards." And back in the '80s, this is why the Fender Stratocaster became very popular, because of the way the Strat sounds. The Strat with a little bit of chorus and delay, it almost sounds like the keyboards. So it blended. So, people were thinking. So sometimes I would be playing stuff that would be almost very, very minimal. Like a... So it'd be just blending in with the mix. And then I get together with my metalhead friends during the day, and we'd be shredding away. And then they would ask me, why are you doing these gigs with the, the sissy music, because the sissy music was paying the bills, and I would just tell them that. And I'd let them, rip on me and everything else. I didn't care, I'd never take things personal. You can't. You take things personal, you're in the wrong business, because you're going to get banned You will be the punching bag, and you got to just know how to take it. But so I thought if I can get my technique to be a well-rounded musician, I could get more work. And so that's been, I guess you could say, the secret for my success is that I could play these different styles, and it really has paid off. That's just playing. Now here's the other aspect: how you conduct yourself. If you could do corporate gigs, always remember you're the hired gun. You are no different than the bartender that they hired. You're not the star. Their guests are the star. They're the star. Because as soon as you get the oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, you know, I always say this, and I never try to force my beliefs on anybody. But for me personally, music, like life, is a gift from God, and I never take it for granted. Never take it for granted. Appreciation. I remember this guy telling me this. He said appreciation is one of the greatest things, because if you could appreciate what you have, you lose your want, except to be much better musician or a better person. But then your so-called wants, I gotta have this pedal, I gotta have this, I gotta have that, they start to go away. Now, unless it's something absolute mayhem, what's happening, my friends? What's happening, buddy? Yeah, unless it's something that you're using as a tool to help you get money, then it becomes part of your arsenal, it becomes part of your tool. But other than that, I don't need a certain amp with a special tube that was hand wired by the guy that was on his deathbed. And I'm not trying to make pot shots to anybody. Everything is fair game. You can do what you want. But do you need that to get out there and make money? No. 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 You could take a cheap $200 guitar and go out there and start gigging and make money. It's, again, the other aspect of being a good player, having control of your instrument, is you got to conduct yourself in a very professional manner. When you do corporate gigs, just remember, they're the star. Their guests are the star. You're the hired gun. Show up early. Depending on how elegant a place is, of course, I put my hair in a ponytail. Sometimes I've had to, wear a tuxedo, and play the part. And sometimes people don't clap. And I'm not, I'm not opposed to showing that to people. At first I thought, oh, well, it's not really a good gig. I thought, wait a minute. Hold the fort. Just because that one person that's sitting there that had all night, only one person showed up, has got their back turned to me, does not mean they're not listening. Because I've been in situations where it looks like nobody cares, and at the end of the night, I've been tipped $100 bills in conjunction with my other tips, in conjunction with what I was getting paid. And those same people would say, you sounded great. I'm sorry if it did look like I wasn't paying attention to you, but I was. You sound excellent. And I got complimented on this before. They would tell me, and you look like you're having fun. You could be no one paying attention, no one's in here, you look like you're having fun. And I would just say, because I just love to play. If there's any advice I would give to anyone who wants to do this, try to make it like your gig is the biggest moment of your life. So what if no one's paying attention? So what if there's only a few people there? So what? You have to create your own environment. You have to create that environment for those people. And always remember, you're not going to please everybody all the time. I don't care if you're in a Beatles tribute band. Remember, there's a lot of people that don't like the Beatles. And I respect them, but I was never really a huge fan, but I'm not going to rain on somebody's parade over that. When I was teaching back up in Illinois, when I was teaching very heavily, I would have students that would have all kind of styles of music, even some music that I really wasn't a big fan of. I put my opinions aside and focus, because I didn't want to rain on somebody's parade. Everyone matters to me. And of course, a lot of brands matter to me. I just started out with doing the Ibanez, and trying to get back into what I was talking about earlier about Ibanez guitars. They make a guitar model for virtually every style of player out there. I don't know if they make banjos. I have an old 1980 Gibson catalog with their banjos and their mandolins, and of course their Les Pauls. and the Howard Roberts Fusion model guitar and all that. Um, but Ibanez has been around a very long time, and yeah, each to their own. Absolutely, absolutely. You know, absolutely. You know, a person could say, Dave, you don't know what you're talking about. I hate Ibanez. It's been the worst brand. You're more than welcome to say that because I'm not Mr. Ibanez. And if I was, I'd listen to you and say, what was the problem? We'll build you a guitar. We'll comp it for you because you spent money on my product. At least you did that. That's why a lot of times I don't really believe in chasing these people for gimme, free, free, free. We've done a couple of guitar clinics where some of the people maybe have thought that they should get an endorsement deal. You're not, you're not, you're not supposed to get anything other than you work for it. You know, if that makes sense, if that statement makes sense. I always believe in this earning it. If someone wants to give it to you, fine. If not, hey, I'll buy the product. If I got the money, I'll buy it. Because there's something magical when you do that. You help out that company. Always remember, those people got mouths to feed too. I don't know, maybe I just look at things very straight. I had people ask me, Dave, why don't you try to get this endorsement deal? Why don't you try, you're using this brand, why don't you try to do this? Why don't you try to do that? Yeah, I could reach out to them and say, you know what, I already got it, I already bought it, You don't, if you want to give me another one, that's fine, or a cost, whatever. But, if you want to just exchange names, yeah. On the list, the whole list, and maybe my name's way on the bottom, and real tiny, type, that you gotta get the magnifying glass. Oh, there's Dave Byron. Okay. I'm happy with that. I don't care. I put my pants on one leg at a time. So let's see. A lot of people slag it. Yeah, they do. Yeah, Ben Coombs, they do. And there's some people get mad that they don't get their way with something, with a certain brand and that. And they gotta understand. Those people, no one is in business to give stuff away for free. I don't understand where this whole concept comes from. I am supposed to get this because I did this one video. I played at this place one time a long time ago. That's not how life works. And I hope it doesn't offend anybody because that's certainly not what I'm trying to do. But I guess I look at things from a realistic point of view, I've always had the model, and our motto will always be, always have that plan B ready. Because there's one thing that is definitely a sure thing in life is that nothing is for sure. So have that backup system, Do it musically, do something to back up your music. Always remember, this is a want, it's not a need. There's a lot more of these out there. There's a lot more of us out there, Count your blessings. Be thankful for what you have, and always move forward. There is no. The only time there's a downer is, when there's the loss of a loved one. When your so-called career goes down the tube, you find another way around it to support it and move forward. Even if that day never comes, but you spend a lifetime trying, you could be in that rocking chair at that nursing home. I've seen a lot of this because I used to play nursing homes. They stare out the window. They like what they listen to me, but sometimes they stare out the window, reflecting on their life. I never want to be the person that reflects on his life and says, I wonder what would have happened if I gave it a shot. See, because if you fail at something, at least you know you gave it a shot. But to me, there's nothing more that can eat up a person alive than just wondering what would have happened. I listened to so-and-so down the road. They told me that I have to play a Gibson. If I want to play a Led Zeppelin song, I got to play the Gibson. If I want to play this song, I got to do that. I wonder what happened if I would have gave it a shot on my own. At least you would have known that you tried. Because there's nothing worse. Because always remember, you can't get time back. That's one thing you will never get back, So, yeah, you know that, Dana? That's interesting you said. I already have way too much stuff laying around. Deb and I had talked about that. And I think, maybe there'll be time I'll start selling some of the stuff I'm not using. Because it's like, especially down here in Florida, we're going to be coming up to our hurricane season. Last year when Hurricane Irma hit, I had to leave a lot of stuff behind. And the funny thing is, we had this wedding gig in October we had to do. So what I had to do was take my Gibson Les Paul, my quarter butt guitar, and my Breedlove steel string acoustic, because I got the synthesizer pickup on there. Amplifiers, we took our Bose L1 powered system, and then my Roland, I got the BA330 battery powered PA, and a couple of pedals, and that was it, man. The things that I know for a fact that is making me money, that I like, but is also making me money. And I had to leave my BC Rich behind. Let's see, the Ibanez. I didn't have this yet. Some of my other stuff that I really like, I had to leave behind, and I thought I don't have the room to take it. You know, we had to get out of Dodge. That was our first hurricane, and wow, that was an eye-opening experience, man. Holy crap! Chicago's known as the Windy City, but it's got nothing on hurricanes down here. But see, we live. Yeah, I need a backup amp. But 10 backups is, yeah, it's overdue. Yeah. Now, I'm going to share something with you guys that I think you're all going to agree with this. If you're in a situation that you're playing different styles of music. Oh, yes, yeah, absolutely. You know what? Right now, I'm only able to do stuff on my phone. When I'm able to, because we have to pay off to find out how much the kitchen floor is going to cost, and we do not like to just spend money and all of a sudden if something happens, we like having that financial nest egg there if something happens. We need that, you know. So probably after this, because this is slow season for us too. I want to buy a laptop to dedicate strictly to YouTube Hangouts, nothing else but YouTube Hangouts. Then I'll be able to, have live guests, which it's eating me alive right now. I want to have a lot of you guys on. Definitely Joe Winch. She's been very kind to me. Great guitar player, Joe. Ben Coombs, Jim Dietrich, Adam EVH. Oh, man. And of course, all of you guys. Because I really wanted to start this out gearing my channel to the gigs and the unsigned guitars. Yes, Absolute Mayhem. Buy a good used laptop. I've been hearing about that. I've been hearing people say that. Even when YouTube cheap laptops, a lot of people said if you go with something used, there's all the ins and outs that some of these new products are not having anymore. So I probably will do that because I'm not going to put anything, no video editing. I might try that, but mostly to do the Hangouts. And that, what the laptops we do have a music company, so we have information on there that we do not like putting up because if we were to get hacked, we still have from our other businesses. We don't want people's, social security numbers being let out or anything like that. We're very protective on that. Of course, we have to be because as business owners, we could get in a lot of trouble as well. And I don't want to see people get hacked. It's crazy. We live in a crazy generation. Yeah, the Chromebooks, exactly. I checked out some of the Chromebooks and I got some good feedback on those. And I know there's some that's used because I guess it's Google Hangouts, and this one guy at Best Buy told me it's done. The Chromebook will definitely handle it. I'd love to do it right off my phone because that's where I do everything. It's so easy to post it, put it on YouTube. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's something I would like to do because, and then Ed Dana gave me a great shout out, his video response, and I really appreciate that, Ed. And Mike, my singer, we're not related. I met him down here. How I met him was I was doing what I think it's called Craigslist, looking for musicians, because when we got down here, we were doing all our phone calls back up in Illinois. After we came down to check it out here, back up to Illinois, then I'm doing all my contacts. So when we got down here, this is how we were able to get these gigs so fast. We come down here July 28th, August 5th, I started gigging, and man, I just kept going and kept going. The end of this month is going to be our 1-year anniversary and our 150th show we've done down here. And the locals are like, what the hell, man, how are you getting the gigs so fast? I said, Maybe it's the mentality coming from a bigger city where there's so much competition. You gotta hit it hard. You know, you take what you could get, and you take those gigs. So, uh, but yeah, I'd like to do that where I could do a live hangout with people and be able to talk, have the response. You know, because right now all I do is I see myself. It's like, oh crap, I gotta look at myself again. You know, but I'm glad when people respond. You know, because it helps me. You know, I'm still new to all this technology. Um, I've been always a hands-on person because when I was doing HVAC, you know, everything is all hands-on. You know. But yeah, Mike, my vocalist, we're not related. So I got on Craigslist and I'm looking for musicians. I figure I better get a vocalist because, you know, it's not that I don't like playing in bands. I love. Oh, you're doing another hangout on Sunday, Ben Coombs? I'll check that out. Last Sunday, where were we last Sunday? We missed it because we were downtown Fort Myers and they had this huge drum off. That's where the videos, and that one girl's twirling fire, you know, the fire stick and everything. I was talking to those people. So by the time we got back home, you were already done with your live chat because you had Steve from Boston on. And I like to talk to Steve from Boston because I'm sure he's going to remember some of the gear, like the Barkus Berry amps, which I think Old Man Dan had mentioned he remembers. Excuse me, Barkus Berry Lab Series amplifiers. I want to say Lab Series was a product of Gibson. That's what I had heard, you know. And of course, crates, when they were shaped like the crate box, and then they're the stuff that's how they changed. And Music Man amplifiers. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, you know, I'll tell you what. Yeah, Ben Coombs, I did catch the rerun, the replay with Steve from Boston. Awesome. Great. I gotta rewatch it again because my time gets cut so tight down here because I have to not just rehearse the songs. I keep up with my chops, so I do a lot of practicing on my technique to keep it up. That's why I'm able to play as long as I'm able to play straight through because of all the practice I've done. You kind of build that stamina. Because I've been in these situations where I'm doing like the corporate gigs I'd mentioned before. Then they say to Deb, hey, I like what he's doing. Could you play an extra hour? Here's $150, okay? And I could turn that down, right? So there I'm playing an extra hour. And this is another reason why I would talk so good about the Digitech loop pedals and that RP series when I've got my electric guitar. It even works on my nylon string acoustic guitar. Because the RP's got that bass patch in there that really sounds very, very strong. You could feel the bottom end. It's not something that's an octave divider here. You can actually feel it. The knob on their master volume also works as another function if you activate the drums. And if you need to do this, hit the drums, you can shut it off with your foot, loop the drum pattern, add guitar rhythm and drums, come back, add bass pattern, and now you can just, if you're good at improvising, it's the perfect tool to use when you're in those situations. And again, I'm not saying that they sound better than, let's say, the Helix or the Kemper amp or the 11 rack or the Fractal system. What I'm saying is, for the money, I'm able to make a lot of money off this pedal. I could get a good enough sound that I'm not going to cry over it. But I got to look back at we keep all our contracts. We got them in files. How much money I've made off of the gear I've used. The cheap gear that I've used, I made a ton of money off of it. And I had fun with it. Most importantly, from a creative standpoint, I love using it. That's first and foremost. But if you want to say you want to be a working musician, you want to make it, part of making it is making money. So there's all these different avenues that I tell people, when you're in that process of you want to get signed to a record label, that's fine. Absolutely go for it. It's exciting. It's very exciting. But at the same time, don't sit and wait for a phone call. Get out there and get your name out there. But don't turn these gigs down, because it's money in your pocket, and you'd be surprised how many people you meet at these corporate events. You could make more contacts with these people because, all right, it's kind of like this. When you go to NAMM shows, you're meeting people in the industry. So it's kind of like the main reason why a lot of people go to NAMM. One of the main reasons, they're not going to look at the gear. I mean, they'll look at the gear, but as a consumer, you can't buy it. If you're a music dealer, then you could work out the deal, right? Or if you could get an endorsement deal, that's fine. But one of the main reasons people will use this to try to network, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. That's how business is done. So when I do these corporate events, it's kind of like a NAMM show, but it might be a doctor event, or it might be ExxonMobil. I've done so much shows with ExxonMobil. Now we're talking about major companies with really big budget. You think the music industry got money? You talk with some of these people. They could buy and sell the music company 5 times over. That's how much money they have. It's incredible. And you'd be surprised how many people that, they have the suit and tie, they're an accountant, or they're a lawyer, or they're a doctor, or they're an engineer, and, their hair's real short, real pushed back, and they're very, very conservative. You'd be surprised. I've been in situations, I played a couple Maiden songs on the acoustic, they're going, yeah, Maiden rocks, play some Slayer. And I'm looking at the guy, and the guy looks like someone that would stay far away from listening to heavy metal, but he's requesting a Slayer song, And then he comes up and tells me he's got another event, he'd like to hire me. How much you charge? We'll give you a little extra. You start making these networks, and I'll tell you, you could make some good money out there in conjunction while you wait to get signed. And then if you never get signed, after a while, it's like, well, what do I care? I'm still making a living as a musician. I'm doing what I want. And I'll tell you one thing that's nice with the corporate gigs and playing music as background. You could, in a way, use that as your private practice, but you're doing it in front of an audience, even though that sometimes it appears they're not listening. They really are. They really are. But at the same time, you're outside your comfort zone. You're getting paid. You're getting paid very well. You get usually tipped very well. You start making these connections, and as the course of time goes by, Seasons in the Abyss. I used to play that song back with my band. I was in Shadow Lord. Had a great guitar player, Chad Elliott was a great guitarist. They were great guys. They were a great band. They my good friends. They were in my they were standing up in our wedding back in 1999. I better remember this. May 1st. Anniversary. I'll always remember our anniversary. Yeah, Pat Bennett. Yeah. Now, how many of you guys you kind of cringe at the fact that you get all these requests? Pedal reviews. We don't have a music store here. Oh, you like the pedal reviews? I'll be doing some of the pedals I have. What I'm going to try to do too. I think EJ Guitars, he's in Texas. I loved what he did this. Because I had this idea. Like Shane from In the Blues, go to some of the music stores and talk with them and say, find one in particular like you go to and say, spotlight the guitar, the pedals, because they're going to have the new stuff there. I'm not going to go out and buy everything that's coming out. I'd be buying it and then putting it in the pawn shop, You can't always afford everything, right? But it will also help spotlight the music store. And I think EJ Guitars, he goes by the name. He's out of Texas. He was doing that with one of the music stores. And I thought that was really cool. Kind of supporting the mom and pop shops. So I'm going to see if I could do that to get some of the pedal reviews out there. Zach Thon, how you doing, my friend? Thank you so much for joining. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I know it's like last minute notice. I got to learn how to type stuff in and say, come in tomorrow night, at 10 o'clock or 8 o'clock, Again, this is all new technology to me, man. But it's kind of cool because it's in a good time slot where people are still up, but I don't want to go too late because some people got to get up early to go to work. I'm off for the summer. Probably go back driving, when school starts. I absolutely love that job. That is my getaway from constantly, having music in my head. It really is, man. I absolutely love it. Let's see. I don't change, but sometimes I wonder how they figured we could do certain things. Yeah, I, I don't. I used to cringe, and I was coming up with ideas. Here's the thing: when a person requests a song, like, oh crap, I don't remember that song, or I never heard that song. I would say, okay, well, I could pull stuff up on YouTube now. But I guess I could say, all right, I got to talk with my singer Mike about this, because sometimes it gets frustrating. Music is my getaway. Yeah, absolute mayhem. It is my getaway. Just yeah. I'll do a short announcement video. Yes, Mr. Ed Dana. Yes, great for that. Thank you for that advice. I'll do that and put it up earlier so people get notifications. And I do apologize about this. We were at the Naples Zoo earlier. Deb and I trying to spend this whole week some time with each other, just as husband and wife. Because you could go nuts, man. This is a great getaway. And I love making this as a huge part of my income, because this is a huge part of my income. But sometimes you have to, it's a job that sometimes everyone needs that break, because you will go stir crazy, But yeah, I'll do an announcement when I'm going to go live, earlier that day, and if people can make it, that's fine. If not, hey, everyone, I live in a real world. I don't take things offensive. I've heard some people out there, they might take things offensive, and I know there's a couple of videos I watched earlier. Music is my release from my pain. It is. You know what, Sonia? I'm glad that you mentioned that. Yeah, shout out to Rockin, Deb. Thanks, Absolute Mayhem. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. I am so blessed to be married to this girl, because we share the same interests, and she's the backbone. She really is, God bless her, We talked about this before, all the things we've gone through to support the music. And I've said this in a video, I think it's, I don't take my videos down, Yeah, Deb is great. Thank you so much, Ben. She really is. Never, for the people out there who are trying so hard to get this to go somewhere, I'll tell you what, you ever notice that the people that are on top, I'm not saying they don't have talent, but they have talent, but then you see people on the bottom with a lot more talent, and you kind of wonder, what the hell is going on? Like those left-handed guitars. I know, YouTube is still left-handed. Does it say Ibanez, or does it say Zenabai? Yeah, Zenabai. Zenabai. I don't know. It's like Harry Carey. Noon spelled backwards is noon. But I've said this before in a video. Never feel ashamed that if you gotta go out and get a secondary job. Yeah, Zena. Absolute mayhem. It sounds like you got a brand cooking right there. I will not say anything. You patent that idea, make money off of it, and you'll be good to go, my friend. But never feel that you have failed, or people go look down. You're gonna have people that want to say stuff. I had that when I said, yeah, I drive the school bus. What the hell's wrong with that? You know what? I know something with the school bus. Real sad that's one of the best starting off driving job that pays the most. It's a need. You'll always have income. And they got more money than some in the music industry. $100 a man, Let's see. Oh, no. Yeah, you're right. Yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah, but there's a guy named Robert's Guitar Dungeon. Great guy. And I guess sometimes he get ripped on. I'm like, why is people ripping on this guy? Everyone's got an opinion. Let a person say their opinion. I mean, that's life, right? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just how I was brought up. You don't take things personal. Yeah, like Otto from The Simpsons. Yeah, this with the school bus. Yeah. I'll tell you what, my friends. It's a great job. You could drive in the morning and do your shows at night. And not everyone could get that job, because You gotta have a perfect driving record. You better not have a DUI. Some states, I guess, you have to wait 10 years to get that DUI off your record. But down here in Florida, it's a lifetime. They won't let you. Oh, Lynn's brother's a school bus driver, yeah. And how does he like it? It's an easy job. You know, if you kids don't bother me, you know. I guess they like me because it's like I'm not us versus them. It's like, oh, this guy's cool. I lost track of count how many times they asked me to be their driver next year. And then I tell them, share the stories, you know, traveling, because some of the kids playing band and, you know. And I always stay away from stuff that's political or religious to let them have their opinion. You know, life is always going to move forward. You know, but when it comes down to music and that, and I let them know, and then it's interesting. I ran into some of these kids that some of them yeah, just be, you know, don't be one. I love that absolute mayhem. Just because you have an a-hole, don't be one. Absolutely. Yep. You know, don't take things personal. Don't rain on someone's parade. Let them have their thing. You know, and it's weird. People will rip on gear. You know. On guitars. Are you kidding me? The thing's not going to play itself. If you can make money with it, it's fine. If more, number one, make somebody happy with it. Now I'm going to go back real quick to what Sonia said. It's a great release. One of the gigs I did that I want to say is probably one of the best gigs I've ever done because of the importance. I got hired to play classical guitar for this lady that was terminally ill. Take an acoustic guitar on the I gotta respond to this real quick. Ed Dana, back in Naperville, Illinois, the first year I drove, I was doing the AM and the PM route, and right after that, I would go and teach at the school. So I didn't have time to go back and get the guitar, and in the wintertime, I didn't want to leave the guitar in the cold car. I rip on gear. I feel over. Yeah, well, overpriced. Absolutely. Yeah, this shouldn't be overpriced. I understand people want to make money off of it. It is an art. I understand. Okay, and if it's something very artistic that's absolutely hand built, okay, but don't go on a ridiculous. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but here the 40th anniversary of the EVH, right? The eruption guitar. Now, the Primo guitar is what, 20,000, 25,000, okay? And if people want to buy it, doctors and lawyers, that's fine. But don't you think you should come out with something that's $200? So Johnny, who lives down the road, who just discovered Van Halen, oh, my idol, I'd love to have that guitar. And you can't, the cheapest one is $7,500. Well, you know what? When people go through a divorce, who's really getting that money, right? But anyways, let me get back to what Mr. Egdana said. So, the first year I was driving, I was also teaching. So it's January, it's December, January in Chicago. We know how bad the weather is. So I'd have to take my guitar in the bus with me because it was at least warm. So I'd take this with me, right? And boy, I remember when I whipped this out of the case, I'd be sitting in a parking lot at the school. Of course, I'd have to wait, and some kids, sorry guys, Pluto just crossed over the moon's orbit and something happened. But anyways, I whipped this out, and boy, the kids, they loved this, man, So I'm sitting there in the driver's seat picking strings. And they loved it. They thought it was cool. But then I would start to get more and more gigs, and then we were able to turn that job off, and boom, we were 100% money, making a living off of our music. And that's when we were doing a lot of the traveling, and the money was coming in, and we were, thank God for my wife, she was able to delegate the expenses, forecast out what it's going to cost to travel. A lot of times, my friends, we would sleep in the rest areas and the truck stops in our car to save on the money. And when we had the shows back to back, we had no time, to rent out all the R2, R3 locking nut. How's it going, my friend? Hey, listening and driving. Hey, thanks so much, buddy. I really appreciate it, man. R2, R3's up in Schaumburg, Illinois. You know about the Illinois winters. And, of course, so does Ed Dana. And, of course, Ben Coombs, you're in Canada. You guys get it worse, man. We got nothing on you guys. So when people down here, it's 78 degrees, they're freezing. Like, are you kidding me? But let me get back to what I was saying, because Sonia said about music being like good therapy, basically. It really is. So we had done the gig for NATO in Brussels, Belgium, and was a that's probably one of the biggest as far as recognizable. I mean, you could go play in Hollywood. You could go play at the Grammys, and I'm not saying that's not big, but this was a much different scale of bigness, because it's NATO, totally different, and it was a great experience. But then let's say about a year after that, I did this gig for this lady who was terminally ill. The daughter contacted us, and she was contacting guitar players because her mom and her dad were supposed to go on their cruise on their anniversary, and she got terminally ill. They couldn't go on the cruise. I haven't worn shoes in 2 weeks. Yeah, it's been hot up there. You guys, I want to tell you something. You guys are getting hotter weather than we are getting down here. We're getting out of the lightning storms, but it gets humid just before it rains. Holy crap. So anyways, this girl, she's contacting people, guitar players, to play for her mom. Her mom's terminally ill, and there you go. Once you get home, open a cold one. Yeah, I see the sign there. It's like that. Oh, Robert Baker said, yeah, take a couple days off. Yeah, you know what? I'm glad that she said that, Zach Song, because Robert did say that, and he's absolutely right. Now, Robert Baker, he's got a young kid. And, maybe he's still making money off of his music, off of YouTube. Maybe he's teaching on the side as well, supplementing the income. And maybe his wife is working full-time, And I'm going to tell you something. A lot of us guitar players, we're fortunate for our wives that will do that to help out. And whether a person, sees it or not, part of that is your plan B. Always having that stream of income. Multiple streams of income really is good, because if something happens with one, at least you could kind of rely on another source of income. Because always remember, bills come once a month, man. I don't care what anyone says. Unless, unfortunately, I'm not making fun of this, but if a person's homeless, they don't have to worry. But they got more worries, So, let me finish with the story so I don't go on a tangent. This lady was terminally ill. The dog... Sorry, guys. I'm going to finish this story before I wrap this up. But this one guy literally told the daughter that he cannot come out. If there's less than 100 people, he cannot come out and do the gig. The daughter explained the situation. So we said, yeah, we'll go and do the gig. This lady's terminally ill. Even... So what? If it was the daughter's boyfriend, I think the other sister, the husband, and the lady herself. What, 5 or 6 people? That was it. But it was one of the most heartfelt gigs I've ever done. And I remember going, I always do this, say a little prayer, asking God to just play through me. This is not about me shredding or me making an impression. It's about try to play something to soothe this lady, because this lady could be on, she was terminally ill. We were told that she only had maybe a few months to live. So she's literally on her last days on earth. And that changed the whole spectrum. I'll tell you that right now. So I remember playing and just digging deep to make it, asking to play as beautiful as possible for her. And I found out later that she overcame this, I think it was cancer she had. She beat it. She got better. And I'm not saying that I was the sole source, but I want to say that maybe it had something to do with helping her. Because as she's sitting on playing these Spanish guitar pieces, and man, she loved it. She was almost in tears. It sounded so beautiful to her. And it was, I felt so honored. And I will never forget that gig. And that's when I reflect on my abilities, and I thank God for them, because I never want to abuse them. When I do my rock shows, I'm throwing my guitar. All right, Mr. Soda Pop. Hey, Soda Pop, 7 a.m. You gotta leave. Hey, you have a great night, my friend. I'll be wrapping this up in just a few minutes here, and I do appreciate everyone for tuning in. Uh, yeah, I really do. But I try not to take it for granted. You know, I do my wild shows. I start out, yeah, it's Rockin' Dave. You know, it's all in fun. It's all in entertainment. It's all to, you know, maybe if a person has a bad day, let them know that, hey, you're welcome. The door's open. You're welcome to come in. Try to help you feel good. For those people who are sad and blue and things like that, we all, man, we all share the same thing. And it's an honor to be able to do this and share this on this platform with YouTube because you know, like a lot of people out there, we've tried to get signed and things of that nature, and it didn't really work for us. So we found other avenues that work for us. And to me, that is, again, like I said before about having a plan B. I personally, and I'm not ripping on anybody, if you could make plan A work, God bless you, and you move forward. You don't let anyone tear you down. But always keep in the back of your mind that this could be very short-lived. And if when you're in your 20s and your 30s, you got time on your side. But as you start getting older, you start realizing time is not so much on your side. I thank God for my health and that, but I do look at reality. I was born in 1963. This month, November, this year, I should say this year, in November I'll turn 55. Now, of course, it's not old, but I've seen years elapse. I've seen it. I lived it, and I've seen what was working and what wasn't working. And everyone's got to do what's going to work for them, and never be ashamed of that. Because I'll tell you, I will never look down on a person because they got to do a side job to support their music, or all they could do is play a little lick here and a little lick there. I'm not going to look down on them because I'll look to try to find something good out of that person because everyone's got a unique story to share. And what's nice with the instrument, if you can't sing like myself, I can't sing with a crap, we try to make the instrument sing. To me, it's like you painting pictures with sound. So, wow, I started out with Ibanez and went over into a tangent. I apologize, guys, but you know, I really appreciate this. I'll be 59 in September. Well, hey, Ed Dana, I'm gonna tell you something you don't look at, my friend. Do you feel sometimes more energized now than you did before? And here's the beauty part of it. Now we have all that knowledge of what we thought was so important back then. We look at it now, we like kind of laugh at it, but we didn't know because that's part of growing. That's, you know, it's a growing process. Experience. I remember a guy telling me this when I started developing my technique, and I started to develop it really quick. Man, I was like, whoa, this is awesome. And this guy, much older guy than me, and yeah, he says, boy, you got some good picking there, man. You could really play. He said to me, but talk to me in about 20 or 30 years. Yeah, feels like yesterday I was 30. Absolutely, Dan Sullivan. Yeah, it does feel like it was yesterday. I'll pick watching a band over a really good one. It's the, yeah, you know what? You nailed it, Ed Dana. It's the heart. Do they look like they're having fun? Are they playing with passion? I don't care how perfect they're playing. You know, I mean, it's nice, but I just love it when you could tell when a person's just passionate about it. And it's kind of strange because in my studies in classical guitar. Yeah, but you know, Sonia, does it make you feel good? And when you play, does it put a smile on a person's face? That's a good guitar player. You know, I used to, when I was in the younger, you know, when we're young, we're invincible, right? And we're gonna take on the world. We learned how to play this guitar solo, the Stairway to Heaven, and everybody is gonna fall on their knees to us because we figured it out, right? Or I got this new amp and I could play my ass off, and man, we're gonna take on the world, and wow, everyone's gonna go, wow. You know what they're going wow over now? People swearing and they're rapping. That's what they're going wow over. It puts a smile on my face. It's when I quit that enables. Oh, Sonia. Oh, but I bet you do sound good, Sonia. you know. And I tell you, it's just, I will always forever be a fan. Always be a fan. Because it's just watching people, that is what has inspired me to play. It's not, I mean, I got my influences, of course, but basically, if I were to put it in a nutshell, it's everybody influenced me. Yeah, yeah. You know, we're all that neighbor thing. You know, no matter how good of a person is, the neighbor says, "Oh my God, is he done? Finally." I remember doing these classical guitar pieces at some of the books I used to play at the Borders. One guy would say, "You're playing that funeral music." I said, "Well, you know, someone's always dying, so I mean, unfortunately, I'm not making light of it, you know." But I had to have something to come back at this guy to make him laugh, to make it feel like I'm not, you know, using him as a punching bag or saying, "Oh, why you know, you suck ass" or something. No, I don't care. You have your opinion. Uh, but it's just something I enjoy to do, you know, and I get influenced by everyone and all you people out there as well. So, yeah, so maybe we'll talk more on Ibanez guitars and just really in general, and see if I could do another Wednesday evening, maybe do it a little earlier because I know some people got to get up. And I really appreciate all you guys supporting our channel and watching our videos. Okay, guys, sorry about that. Yeah, what I was just saying, it doesn't offend me when people drop and then they want to check out some other ones. I'll use it. Ibanez Geo. I had an Ibanez Geo guitar. And you know what, Sonia? I loved that guitar. I actually sold it to one of my students, and I actually forgot I had one of those Ibanez Geos. I'll tell you what, it was it was a great guitar. It was an awesome guitar. I'm gonna tell you something that's magical with the cheap guitars. You play these outdoor gigs, especially if you're doing anything that's high energy, where they, you know, it's mostly in the rock sector, anything that's high energy. So you throw the guitar around to put the show on, so they all, yeah, we had a great time, you know. That's cool, you know. You might hit the headstock up against another guitar, you might bump the back of the guitar in part of a wall or something. You don't have to worry. And it's interesting that some of these cheaper guitars that people will say that they're crap, they stay in tune, they last, they have no issues. And I don't know, when it comes down at the end of the day, and the people that could care less what it says on the headstock or what amp or what pedal you're using, because again, their concern is their drink is half empty. It's time to go get another drink. That's their main concern. If they're entertained, boom, you accomplished your goal as a performing musician, you know. Uh, but I really do appreciate everyone following us. We are going to be adding more songs to our playlist. I will be adding some originals to my playlist. And for people out there that want, they've got some songs they want me to play, I'll do the best I can to, you know, learn them, put in my loop pedal, like I did with Jim Geitridge's stuff was great, and Broken Chains. I'll try to make it, you know, where you guys feel, you know, feel proud. You feel like, hey, that was cool, Dave. Thanks, you know, because I want to spotlight all you guys, you know. But yeah, again, you're always welcome. It doesn't offend me when people go on other channels because I do the same thing. You come back and check it out, and your comments are always welcome because honestly, it helps me grow as a musician and as a person. So, in closing, my friends, thank you so much for joining this live chat. I will keep you posted. Dana, thank you for the advice. I will, when I'm going to go live, I'll post it earlier that day or the day before. I will try to do another one. Well, I'll do my Saturday 1 o'clock and my Saturday evening performance. We're at the Blue Monkey with Mike. And then I'll see if I can do another Wednesday. And I'll let you know if I can't. One way or another, I'll put a little video up letting you guys know that, hey, Wednesday at around 7 or 7:30, I will go live. Oh, thank you so much, Ben Coombs. You know, I really appreciate Ben. You're a great, great guy. Your dad is just, oh my God. I look to your dad just like I see like Yngwie Malmsteen, except your dad doesn't have to have all those loud amps. You know what I mean? Loud, obnoxious, you know. No pun to Yngwie, but I mean, come on. But you got a lot of you got a whole lifetime of experience, Ben, and it's just awesome. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We love you all. Like the great Ben Coombs in Canada, a great Canadian friend says, hold those doors open for people, man. It really matters. Let those people in. You know, you do good things to people, good things come back to you. Always desire to inspire and keep it real. Until Saturday at 1 o'clock, we will talk to you later, my friends. And may God bless all of you. We love all of you. Thank you so much, Sonia, Dana, Johnny Bean, friend.